All right, welcome to Chef's Take. I'm your host, Michael Zavlaris. Today is December 10th, 2022. We're officially 2 weeks away from Christmas Eve, which is also the same day as the Eagles and Cowboys game. That should be a good game. I can't wait for both for those to come. But anyway, let's get right into it. So, last week I went 13 and 2. The picks I made, they were pretty accurate, I would say. I had a gut feeling that it would be the witching hour, one of those weeks where the underdogs win, and that was in fact the case. Now, of course, Lamar Jackson was hurt, but I did say that the Broncos game is going to be a lot closer than people think. And the final score was 10-9. But, the Broncos still suck. They can't even score a touchdown now, which is abysmal. I don't know what's going on with Russell Wilson. Nathaniel Hackett is not a good coach. And the defense is carrying, you can't even say carrying because they're so bad. The defense for the Broncos has been the only good thing about the team. They've been holding teams to a fair amount of points, but the offense and Russell Wilson cannot put any points on the board. So losing a game 10-9, that is offense. That is the offense's fault, without a doubt, because the Broncos held the Ravens at 10 points, and the Broncos offense could not put up more than 10 points. Not even 10 points. So there's that. And the Giants and Washington game, I was really undecided about that game, but it ended in a tie, so that's not a loss for me. So yeah, I went 13 and 2. Vegas was 12 and 3 that week. So there's that for you. The Dolphins and Niners game wasn't what I expected. I mean, I shouldn't really say that. Jalen Waddle was hurt, and he was on my fantasy team. He only got me not even 2 points, but he hurt his leg. He's good to go this upcoming Sunday. I thought that was going to be a really good game, but it just turns out the Niners' defense is legit, shutting down one of the most explosive offenses in the league with a score of 33-17. So I did have the Niners winning that game. It's just I thought it was going to be like a 28-24 kind of game, but that just wasn't the case. As for the Raiders and Chargers game, I had the Raiders winning that game because I don't know what Brandon Staley's doing. There's so much potential with that Chargers team. Before the season started, I mean, aside from the Eagles, I put money on Justin Herbert to win MVP. Brandon Staley, Coach of the Year. I had high hopes on the Chargers this year. I had them winning the division, but they're underachieving with that kind of team they have. But it's also because of the amount of injuries they've had. So we'll see what happens, but honestly, there's talks right now about Sean McVay being the next head coach for the Chargers, and that'll be something to monitor. Right now, they're talking about McVay possibly being the possibly being the Chargers head coach or the Cowboys head coach. So we'll see what happens. I say that a lot. So, without further ado, let's talk about the Eagles. So we completely dismantled the Tennessee Titans, 35-10. A.J. Brown had his revenge game, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts did really well. Both of them were on my fantasy team. I won that week, but it was only by 1.5. It wasn't fun. But yeah, A.J. Brown got his revenge game, and a couple days afterwards, the Titans fired their general manager. So there's that. But yeah, the Eagles were looking really good. We just beat one of the most physical teams in the league. So because of this game too, there's a lot of, it's been going on for the past few weeks. There's been a lot of comparisons between this year's Eagles and 2017's Eagles. Like, they're talking about which defense is better, which offense is better, and they, of course, they have to, because, Hurts replaced him. They are comparing Jalen Hurts' stats this year's compared to Carson Wentz's stats in 2017. Hurts right now is he's like top 2 in the MVP race. And there goes my phone. Let me shut that off real quick. He's top 2 in the MVP race, and he's in the odds. Mahomes is like plus 125 and Jalen Hurts is plus 150. So it's a really tight race right now, and as the past 2 weeks have been going on, a lot more people are riding the Hurts train. So that's good to see. Hopefully he wins MVP. I think he deserves it. He has the best touchdown interception ratio in the league. There's just so much that he's done this year. Like, I genuinely think he deserves MVP. But back to the comparisons between 2017 and 2022. So I did the research. I looked at the stats. Now, without a doubt, this year's Eagles team has better players on paper. We have A.J. Brown. We have Devontae Smith. Miles Sanders. We have that great O-line. We have Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Hassan Reddick. 2017, we didn't have a whole lot of star-studded players. Our best receiver was Alshon Jeffrey. Now, Jeffrey was good. Don't get me wrong. During the Super Bowl run, he was really good. But he was not as good as A.J. Brown. Like, our receiving core this year is better than 2017. I believe this offensive line is better than 2017. And defensively, it's really, like, for the defensive line, in terms of, like, depth, I think this year's is better. Linebackers, I'd have to give to this year. And this year's secondary is a whole lot better. Because 2017, sure, we had Malcolm and McLeod, but our cornerbacks were Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby. But we have to show love to Patrick Robinson, who I think was our best corner that year. But aside from like Malcolm Jenkins and McLeod, we really didn't have like a good secondary. This year we have Slay, Bradbury, who are statistically the best cornerback duo in the league. And you have Avonte Maddox, one of the best nickel corners in the league. And you have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who plays like Malcolm Jenkins a little bit. He's a hybrid. He can play man, play zone. He can do everything. And, Marcus Epps, he's a hard-hitting safety. And Reed Blankenship, who's replacing Chauncey Gardner-Johnson right now, is doing really good. So, honestly, it's like really close. But if we look at the stats, first I want to bring up the Hurts and Carson Wentz stats real quick. So we go right here. And as you see on your screen, throughout the first 12 games, Hurts has more wins than Carson. Hurts has a better completion percentage than Carson. He has less passing yards than Wentz does. Yards per attempt is better than Wentz. They both have the same amount of touchdowns, and Hurts has fewer turnovers, a better passer rating, and more rushing yards. So statistically speaking, through 12 games, Hurts has been the better player. And it's like, when I was looking at those stats with Carson, 60% percentage that's not good passing wise. That's actually terrible. But Carson Wentz was in fact the leading MVP candidate before he got hurt. This is no bashing on Wentz at all. But he was statistically, he was going to win the MVP had he not gotten hurt. He was the front runner. He was the talk of the league. So, but as you see on your screen, Hurts has been statistically better this year. But I want to say like after the season, between the two quarterbacks, like between the two seasons, um, Jalen Hurts is on pace to have a better season than Carson in 2017. But I mean, we have to right now like 2017 they won the Super Bowl. The fate for 2022 is to be found out, but like, Hurts has better stats than Carson, so statistically through 12 games he's been a better player, and honestly from what I've seen, I think that's the case. I don't want to jinx him, but he's been like so efficient. Carson was more of a passing quarterback. He was a gunslinger. Hurts is not a gunslinger. He's been more of a mobile quarterback, of course. And I've said when we drafted him, his ceiling is like prime Russell Wilson. That's what he's looking like this year. Now, of course, the actual Russell Wilson's playing like shit. But, yeah, Hurts is phenomenal right now. He has my vote for MVP, not being biased. I just genuinely think he's the MVP this year. So, there's that. Now, for the other stats, let's look at the offense. 2017 compared to 2022. I can't get it on the screen, but in 2017, the Eagles were second in points per game with 28.6. Before I get on with the rest of this, the 2017 offense, statistically speaking, and the 2022 offense, they are really similar. Like where they rank, and honestly, like the yardage in general, like they are really close. 2017, we were second before Carson got hurt. We were first in points per game because once Foles came in, we really weren't putting that many points on the board, and we even dropped. Well, I don't even want to consider that Dallas game as one because he didn't start the whole game, but I couldn't find like the stats on the Eagles as a whole through the first 12 games, but in 2017, 28.6 points a game, which was second in the league. This year, the Eagles are also second in the league with 28.2 points per game. So they're putting up around 28 points a game, very similar. Total yards per game, in 2017, they were ranked 7th with 366 yards. This year, we're ranked 3rd with 388 yards. Passing, very, very similar. Both ranked 13th and both literally at 233. 2017, 233.6 passing yards a game compared to this year's 233.7 passing yards a game. In rushing, 2017 was ranked 3rd with 132 rushing yards. This year we're ranked 5th, but we are averaging 155 rushing yards a game. So, even though we're ranked lower technically, like between the two, we're ranked lower. We're getting more yards than 2017. Receiving yards, very similar again. 247.9 receiving yards for 2017, which ranked 14th, and 247.8 in 2022, which ranks 12th currently. Third down percentage, 2017, 41.7%, which ranked 8th. Carson Wentz was, in fact, the best third down quarterback in the league that year. They could not stress that enough. This year, we're 45.8%, which is 4th. Fourth down, both in the top 3. 2017, 65.4%, which is 3rd. And 2022, 75%, which is 2nd. So the offenses are, as you can see, they're like very, very similar. But, of course, both offenses were like ran differently. We were really good with the rushing game, but like both sides. So, but like just the style of the offense is different. This year we're using more quarterback. We're using more, QB draws, all that kind of stuff. Because we didn't use the quarterback in running situations as much as we did in 2017. So, yeah, both offenses, statistically speaking, very, very similar. But honestly, I would have to give the edge to 2022. Both offenses are explosive, but I would probably have to give the edge to 2022. Now, defense. Some people were saying the 2017 defense is better than the 2022 defense, and others are saying the opposite. But when I looked at the stats, both defenses were like the opposite of each other. 2017, we were really good against the run and subpar against the pass. This year, we're the best against the pass and subpar against the run. But I will mention, in recent weeks, we have been doing really, really well against the run game. Ever since we acquired Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, and since Jordan Davis came back, we've been doing really well with the run game. So without further ado, let's get into the statistics for both teams. Points allowed. Both teams were at 18 points. 2017, 18.4, which was fourth in the league. 2022, 18.8, which is eighth in the league. Yards allowed, both in the top five. 2017 allowed 307 yards per game, and which was fourth in the league. 2022, we allowed on average 296 yards a game, which is second in the league, and I think we're not even that far behind. I believe San Francisco is in first with that. Passing. In 2017, we were 17th. So, and like I said, our secondary in 2017 was not good. We were not good. Hell, even the Super Bowl, we gave up over 500 passing yards. So, 2017, we ranked 17th with 227 passing yards a game. 2022, this year, 178.5 passing yards a game, which is first in the league, which is really good. And I'd love to see that, because for those Eagle fans who are watching, we always struggled with our secondary. We never had a true cornerback one since Asante Samuel. It's been a while. Now we have the best cornerback duo in the league with Darius Slay and James Bradbury. Rushing, like I said, these defenses had opposite strengths. Rushing, we were the best in the league in 2017. I remember that. 79.2 rushing yards allowed, which is first in the league. This year, we are at 118, which is 17th in the league. So, yeah, like I said, we are subpar. We weren't that good against the run this year. And that's overall. The past couple weeks, we've been doing really well since we got Suh and Joseph. They've been doing really well for us right now. And we have Jordan Davis back. But, of course, this is comparing the season as a whole, not recency bias, meaning like the most recent games. But yeah, overall, rushing defense this year, not that good. That's how we lost to Washington, aside from a few other things. They were just running it right down our throats. So, yeah. We're getting better with that. Receiving yards. Right now, we are 2017 ranked 18th with 243 receiving yards allowed. And in 2022, we are first with 203 receiving yards allowed. And you guys are probably wondering why the passing numbers and the receiving numbers are different. Like, 178.5 is a lot different than 203. I would assume that's because when a quarterback gets sacked, they consider that, like, the yardage lost, they take that away from the passing yards for some reason. So that's what they did that's what I didn't. I just found out about this like a few weeks ago. So that's why it's like pretty low. Big difference. Third down percentage. In 2017, 32.2%, which is third in the league. This year we're 38.2%, which is tied for 10th. And fourth down in 2017, 22.2%, first in the league. I remember that year we did really well. Like Jim Schwartz has always done really well on third and fourth down. Aside from the Titans game in 2018, 2019, let's not even think about that, please. But yeah, Jonathan Gannon, I noticed, we're not good when it comes to like third and fourth down. We're just not that good on that, and the stats show that. Opponents convert on fourth down 60% of the time against us, and we are ranked 25th in that. So, yeah. Jim Schwartz is a good defensive coordinator. I wish we kept him. Jonathan Gannon, I don't really like him because some of his game planning is just atrocious. But Jim Schwartz didn't have a star-studded defense like we do. He didn't have a Hassan Reddick. He didn't have a Darius Slay or a James Bradbury. He didn't have a really good linebacker core. So, but 2017's linebacker core wasn't bad at all. It was decent. You know, Nigel Bradham, Jordan Hicks, who unfortunately ruptured his Achilles, and Michael Kendricks. And that was a good linebacker. That was a good linebacker room, but this year's is better, you know. TJ Edwards, who's a rising star right now. Kaiser White. Hassan Reddick is considered a linebacker, but he's more of an edge rusher. And Nakobe Dean. I don't know why. I really wish he was starting right now. It would do us wonders. And he proved that. And he only played like a handful of minutes, and he led the team in tackles and like tackles for a loss. So he's probably going to start next year. And I hope he does, because he's going to take our defense to a whole new level. So, yeah, so statistically speaking, you know, the defense, one was really good against the run, and the other one was really good against the pass. So these are like two different defenses. But I would have to say, like, according to what the stats say, I'd have to give it to 2022. If both teams played against each other right now, I would probably give the edge to 2022, if I'm being honest with you. 2022 is just more explosive. Our passing should be fine. Like, here's how I see it. First, let me charge this. Let me charge my laptop, because this shit's gonna die. And let me get a water. Ugh. So, if both teams played like against each other, I really think 2022 will come out victorious. I love Doug Peterson. I love the 2017 team, but if you look, the 2017 team, like both teams, I will admit they have easy records. This year, I think this Eagles team has like a tougher record than 2017. Because if you look, every like really good team the Eagles played in 2017, they lost. They lost against the Chiefs. They lost to the Seahawks. I'm not going to count the Cowboys game because, you know, we rested our starters that game. But the Rams game was a really tough one. So against those really good teams, we didn't really like do well. This year, every good team we played against, like every team that was supposed to be a big test for us, we dismantled them. The Vikings, 24-3. The Titans, 35-10. We are also really disciplined too. So I would have to give the edge to 2022, because here's how I see it panning out. A run defense, like the team right now with, like this is with both sides, like both teams healthy. our current run defense, you know, with Sue, Linville Joseph, and all of them, I think we have a really good chance to contain. Um, we have a really good chance at containing. What's it called? Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount, Corey Clement. I don't see. Well, I really think the running game is not going to work this game at all. I just want to make that clear. The running game is not going to be effective this game. Unless, like, for 2022, Hurts will probably have more rushing yards. Like, because, the Eagles, they always struggled. We always struggled against mobile quarterbacks. Like, 2017, we struggled against mobile quarterbacks. So, I think that 2017 defense is going to have a hard time containing Jalen. And like I said, the running game is going to be, like, out of the question this game, except for, like, Hurts. But, yeah, the passing game is going to be the way to go. I think 2017 will probably have more rushing yards, but I also feel it's not going to be by much. I think our secondary will neutralize our passing game. The only person that I think would be a problem on the offense would be like Zach Ertz, because Zach Ertz was really good 2017. I think he would be the only problem because I strongly believe that James Bradbury would be on Alshon Jeffrey because Bradbury always gets the bigger receivers. He was guarding like Treylon Burks. He's going to be guarding the big guys. And Darius Slay would be on like Aguilar. Aguilar is not going to see shit. And I liked Torrey Smith, but Torrey Smith I felt like was easy to contain. And I think, what's his name? Avonte Maddox would contain him well. So I really do think 2022 would beat 2017 Eagles. That team can beat you in so many ways. Like, it's not even a joke. I don't think 2017 can beat 2022. Our secondary is going to shut down Jeffrey, Aguilar, and Torrey Smith. I think the 2017 front seven is going to shut down our run game, minus Jalen. But I also think that the 2022 team can shut down Ajayi, Blount, and Clement. Like, if I had to give you like a score for the game, I would honestly probably say like 27-14, like 27-21 maybe, something. But yeah, that's what I think. I think 2022 would beat 2017, without a question. So that's enough of that. I can take this graphic off the board now. Actually, no, I can't, because we have to do our picks. Now, before I begin with the picks, let's talk about that Vegas and Rams game. Baker Mayfield turned into Tom Brady, and he only knew the playbook for a couple days. So Raiders are going to Raiders. Only Sean McVay. Now, it's only one game. I don't want to, go out of proportion, hype him up. But Baker Mayfield looked pretty good, and he only knew like a little bit of the playbook. So props to Baker. Now, let's get right on to the picks this week. So, I did have Vegas winning this game. I didn't even know if Baker was going to play, but even if Baker did play, I still was going to pick Vegas because they didn't. The Rams don't have like any of their starters playing except for like Ramsey, and Ramsey got cooked by Devontae Adams twice. But Adams only had 2 catches that game, but still, he got burnt. But yeah, I had Vegas winning that game. So let's get on to the rest of the games. Jets at Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo. Cleveland at Cincinnati. Deshaun Watson. Groper Cleveland, if you will. He did not look good at all. Granted, it's been 2 years, but he's looking really rusty. And, yeah. I'm picking Cincinnati here. Houston at Dallas. Oh, Jesus. No Nico Collins or Brandon Cooks. So, what's his name? Damian Pierce will be the only offensive threat, and I know Dallas is just going to plan on him because they did the same thing with Jonathan Taylor. They shut him down, and that's why they beat the living shit out of the Colts. So yeah, the battle, the Battle of Texas. Oh shit. What's the line for this game? I just want to see that for my personal amusement. All right. 17.5 points. I don't think I've ever seen a line like that, ever. Dallas is going to win this game. I really think Dallas is going to win this game, but holy shit, I've never seen such a lopsided line in my life. And 57% of the money is on Dallas to win by 18 points. So, yeah, I have Dallas winning. Next, we have Minnesota at Detroit. This is going to be a close one. I really want to give it to Detroit, but I think Minnesota is going to win this game. Next, we have Jacksonville at Tennessee. Tennessee got their guts rearranged. So did Jacksonville. I'm going to go with... I'm leaning Jacksonville. I'm going with Jacksonville. Next, we have Philadelphia at the Giants. I think it's going to be a 27-17 kind of game. I'm picking the Eagles. Sorry, Anthony. He's a Giants fan, in case y'all didn't know that. A lot of Giants players are hurt right now. Adoree Jackson's not playing. Leonard Williams isn't going to be playing. He's doubtful. Saquon is 50-50 right now. So there's a chance that their best offensive player doesn't play. But the Giants always gave us trouble. Like, in recent memory, they've been giving us trouble. Like, every time we played them, it was like a one-possession game. So, minus last year when they came to Philly. But it was a close game in the beginning. I have the Eagles winning this game. Next, we have Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Lamar's not playing. He's out. I'm going with Pittsburgh here. Kansas City at Denver. I'm going with Kansas City because Denver's offense is shit. Tampa Bay at San Francisco. I'm going with San Francisco. Carolina at Seattle. Oh, yeah, Tom Brady with a great comeback, a 16-3 comeback. Baker did the same thing. I'm going with San Francisco. Carolina at Seattle. I want to go with Seattle. Kenneth Walker is doubtful to play, though. So, I mean, I don't want to overthink it. I'm going to go with Seattle. Next, we have Miami at the Chargers. Now, according to what Sal told me, Derwin James may not even play. Like, a bunch of Chargers defensive players are not playing, apparently. So, let me see if this is true. Mike Williams is returning. Derwin James is doubtful. There's a lot of Chargers players hurt. Tyreek Hill is playing. He had a sickness, but he's playing. I think Waddle is playing. He has a leg injury. I'm not starting him this week. I'm starting Keenan Allen. But, yeah, the Chargers secondary is banged up. It's going to be a close game. But I feel like because of Brandon Staley, I'm going to have to pick Miami. But this is a game that can also go either way. And Monday, we have New England at Arizona. I'm gonna pick New England. So, yeah, those are my picks this week. New England, Miami, Seattle, San Francisco, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Philly, Jacksonville, Minnesota, Dallas, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and I picked Vegas, so I'm 0-1 right now. But those are the picks this week. Thank you for watching. I will be posting Week 15 next week. So stay safe, enjoy the holidays, and I'll see you next week.